Hey, what's up YouTube? Here we are, another day, another round of getting in this work like we do every single day at 1:11 Mountain Time. We show up, we're putting in this work full body every day. It's about a third of the daily training we're doing. But we're also going to address the garbage being spread around our society, our community, because when you have people dumping trash in your yard, in your society, in your park, in your public water, the way that MAGA is spewing their trash all throughout society, you have to clean it up. Even if you didn't make the mess, you have to clean it up. And when it's every day, not only do you have to clean it up, you have to figure out how to stop it from happening. Okay? Because it's like somebody coming in the middle of the night and they're just dumping their trash in your yard. And you get a little security camera and you catch the people dumping the trash, but they're wearing a mask and wearing a hoodie, and you haven't been able to track them down. But we know who these people are, okay? We know who these people are spreading trash in our community, and we're going to clean it up. That's what good people do. That's what good citizens do. They take accountability for their society, their environment, and they use their strength and their extra energy to clean it up and make it better. So before we start getting into this work today, we're going to very briefly go over the concept of what we're going to be talking about today. After we go through what I have on the board quickly, we're going to listen to a little bit of the I've Had It news ladies. I have a few different videos of different creators queued up here today. We're going to watch that. We're going to react to that together. Feel free to post your feelings, opinions, views, what you're working on, anything you want to talk about in the chat. I'll try my best to respond in real time. Okay, so how does MAGA go from the party of expose the PDFs to the party of protect the PDFs? How do people make a 180-degree switch from this is all that matters to this is all that matters, and they're completely opposite, okay? And you know that when you argue with these people, you very quickly find out they're not any more serious than arguing with a kid about their favorite high school team when they go to a particular high school, okay? If this kid goes to a particular high school, you think you're going to convince them to cheer for the high school across town? No, because it's not bad beliefs, but obedience shifts. Okay, that same kid changes high schools. Which school are they going to cheer for next year? Nothing changed in their beliefs except for the school that they're going to. Okay, and now if you change from MAGA to liberal, obviously your beliefs are going to change. But we are going to talk about the difference between having principles as a cheerleader and having principles as a rock. Okay, having principles as core values are a lot different than having principles as a cheerleader, and we're going to talk about that. But the important concept is that you can't talk to these people about their beliefs because all they believe in is obedience. Okay, and we're going to talk about why that is. Q-lock. Team identity overrides rules. Okay, again, back to the high school football team analogy. These are the equivalent of mental juveniles who want to consume fast food of politics. They want McDonald's Happy Meals type philosophy, type beliefs, and they need people to validate them. They're insecure in themselves, or else they would stand up for what's right. That's how you know that all of these people are insecure. Secure people never try to punch down. It's just a fact. Only insecure people try to punch down. So we know they're insecure. They are obedient so that their team will accept them. Okay? And that overrides rules, principles, and integrity. That's why debating these people doesn't matter. Because as soon as you prove, they have this rule, right? Expose the PDFs. But then tomorrow, do you remember the day that MAGA switched from expose the PDFs to protect the PDFs? Do you remember it? Probably not, because it happens in a slow sequencing of Q-lock. Q-lock means the cues coming from the leaders, the followers lock into. Even if that means, hey, we want you to change your opinions completely from what they were yesterday, we want you to change them today. And an obedient, insecure follower who doesn't stand up for what's right says, you know what, my team identity overrides integrity, rules, principles. So now they see lying or pivoting as loyalty. Okay, they rebrand it in their mind and they say, they might not even go so deep to tell themselves, you know, I know that I'm lying, but they know they're lying. They know they used to be this. They know that they're now this. And what they tell themselves is, I'm loyal, okay? I'm loyal to my team. I'm ride or die for my team. Rules, principle, integrity don't come into that equation. The pivot paradox from expose to protect simply explains how these people can change their ideas from one day or 1 year to another. And it's a paradox because this is not normal human behavior. Humans don't normally stand for something one day and then stand for the complete opposite the next day. So we're going to talk about how does this pivot paradox occur? It's so obvious, yet we see it happening right in front of our faces. Principle laundering, again, ties into all of this. That's saying, I have these principles when it's somebody else, when it's the high school team across town, but we make exceptions for our guy. Okay, what we said was unacceptable with Bill Clinton, Donald Trump can do 1,000 times worse, and we make exceptions for him. Okay, that's principle laundering. You pretend to have principles when it serves you, but you turn them into something else the minute it applies to your team. Okay, and that's what these people do. And we're gonna let I've Had It news ladies talk about it. We're gonna get to work, try to do 2 or 3 sets of everything today. We'll see how much we get in. My body's feeling pretty crispy today, so we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna let them go. I'm gonna pause and comment wherever I feel like it's relevant. In the meantime, I want you to start noticing that it is not their beliefs, it's their obedience. Okay, and we can't play dumb with them. We're trying to clean up our community. We can't waste time playing dumb. And, you know, I'm not going to play dumb with any of these people in the comments because this is my house. And in my house, we don't allow you to come in and tell lies. We don't allow you to spread garbage. We will allow you to say anything you want if you debate it face to face. But you're not going to hide behind a screen name and spread garbage or trash in our house. And in the same way, these people are remedial, okay? They're not intelligent. They are mentally simple. And again, everything that they digest is the intellectual equivalent of like McDonald's, like Donald Trump eats. It is dumbed down to the point of being unhealthy. So if we're trying to have a calculus class in here for the advanced students who are already left because they are strong enough and honest enough to care about their fellow man and care about democracy, care about equality, if we have a calculus class, we can't let the toddlers come in screaming and crying and pooping all over the floor, okay? And we can't let the little middle school students who wish they were in calculus, who want to hang out with the big kids and pretend that they're as smart as the big kids, come in and ask stupid questions that hold everybody else back, or come in and tell lies that hold everybody else back. You know, MAGA will come in and say the most insane lies. It's like a kid walking in a calculus class saying, the professor is wrong. I, the 8th grader, will teach you, the high school seniors, how to do calculus. And we indulge that, okay? We have been indulging that because the left tends to be nice to people. And being nice to people is fine until it comes at the expense of the majority of people. So for the remedial people, because people who are MAGA are not intelligent, they're not honest, there is hope for you, okay? You can watch this, you can sit in the back of the class and take in information and get up to speed. You are a fully capable human being, and we all acknowledge that. But you have chosen to be remedial. You have chosen to live in ignorance. You've chosen to live in hate. You've chosen to live in fear. You've chosen to Q-lock to a beta male, to use your terminology. The terminology is cringe and ridiculous, but you guys love to talk about alpha and beta. You Q-lock to the biggest beta male in the world. Okay, you're not up to speed enough to talk with the rest of us. So this is the grown-ups class. This is the grown-ups channel. And I don't care if you like it. You know, this is not a safe space for ignorant people. It's not a safe space for lazy people. It's not a safe space for morally bankrupt people. This is my house. This is my rules. If you want to debate it face to face, you can say whatever you want and you get equal time to me, okay? Any of you who are mad and triggered right now, you can't say it in the comments. I'm not going to let you spread trash in my house, but you can give me content, okay? If you want to say it to my face, you let me know, and we can do it on video or in person, and you get the exact amount of time as me. I will never interrupt you. You can't interrupt me. Same rules for both people. We'll have a talk. I'll post it. We'll do it live, and the viewers can learn from it. Okay? So that's how it's going to go on the channel. And with that being said, we really are going to get to work. Let's hear what these ladies have to say. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, full of love and liberty wherever you are, whatever side, whoever you are. I wish you love and liberty. I wish these people love and liberty. I wish everyone on earth love and liberty. That is the point of this channel. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's get into it.
Maddening about being an American right now and an American the last 10 years is how Donald Trump, whom we refer to as Kinks, gets away with so much shit. It's just so unbelievable, the lack of accountability.
Is it 80 pounds?
Over
40?
and over
40.
and over, repeated. It's like when you stop and think about it and you see on the news the more and more that he's getting away with, it's just jaw-dropping, and it just jolts the conscience that this man seems to be the exception and that so many people celebrate the villain and go along with such a piece of shit and say, yeah, he can do all of these evil things and we're going to support him and we're going to love him. All right, first up we have, this is just unbelievable. Actually, it is believable. Kinks now is priming the public that he's going to start robbing the piggy bank. And this is step one. He wants $230 million. Kylie, go ahead and play the video.
If Joe Biden did this, they'd lose their minds.
The New York Times is reporting that your
Q-lock.
team is seeking $230
Pivot
million
paradox.
from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigation into you. Is that something you want your legal team?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I won't give it to charity, any money. But look, what they did, they rigged the election. And as you know, we had, in one case, 60 Minutes had to pay us a lot of money. George Slavic.
They just lie and they go along with it because they're obedient.
Because what they did was wrong.
Their obedience overrides principles and integrity. They're obedient to a beta male by their own definition.
Okay, I've heard enough. So basically, the New York Times broke this story that he wants $230 million from the federal government. Mind you, he has no problem cutting Medicare, Medicaid, all of these things. He's building a $250 million ballroom, the jet, and on and on. This is such a massive scandal, but it goes back to how I started the episode. This guy just gets away with everything, and this just gets kind of sifted through the news cycle, and we go on. But in my opinion, this is much bigger than him wanting just the 230. He is priming the public that everything in the federal government is to service him. The Treasury, the DOJ, which we've already seen, all branches of government, all governmental agencies are his personal concierge service. And now the U.S. Treasury is going to be his piggy bank.
What infuriates me about this, I mean, all of it, the corruption, the bullshit about it, Merrick Garland, I could go on for an hour. But he has the examples of CBS and ABC through George Stephanopoulos because they obeyed in advance. They didn't stand and fight, and it empowered him to do all this shit. It enrages me.
You're 100% correct that the industry titans the universities and the law firms, and even Trump himself has said, I didn't think it would be this easy. I thought we'd get more pushback, and that's pretty telling. It's incredible how quickly people become cowards. I'm shocked that you ascend and you're the head of a university or of a law firm or a CEO, and you've done so well in life, and then you completely buckle for this guy. It's just it's really staggering about leadership in this country across all facets of industry. All right, number 2 here we have he's still butthurt about the 2020 election, and this is where him complaining about that is one thing, but here's where it gets really, really dangerous, where he's talking about we're never going to let that happen again. He's basically saying, I'm never going to lose an election again. Play the clip.
Really, I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen. And so the way we go, I know Keisha's working on it, everybody's working on it, and certainly Tulsi's working on it. We can't let that happen again to our country. Look at what's happened where you have millions of people being allowed to come into our country all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, and drug dealers. The people.
He cannot get past the insane asylums. But what he's doing, he can't.
The Thanksgiving turkey sub is back at Firehouse Subs. Firefighter approved.
All right, y'all, so we see them going along with this stuff because beliefs do not matter to them. It's about obedience, okay? It's about different rules for people wearing your jersey than people wearing the other team's jersey. Rules for thee, not for me, is the MAGA way. Okay, that's how you can see them switch on a dime.
But what he's doing is he's calling out, he's doing a roll call in that, in my opinion, Cash, Tulsi. He's gotten his cabinet to commit crimes so that in turn, they will, like Kristi Noem, they will go along
all
with
these
the
people are going to be held to
and
justice.
The rigging and the bribing and whatever they have to do.
The wheels of justice turn slowly.
Power. Because otherwise, as you always point out, none of these other dipshits have immunity. And Kristi Noem, can you imagine? I mean, she's committed so many crimes. And so that's why I think he does the roll call in that. Like, I've got all these people working on it because we're going to make sure none of us are ever held accountable for this fascist field trip that we're on right now.
Kind of reminds me of his Trump 2028 flags and the Republicans standing around saying, oh yeah, well maybe he can run again. He'd be the top cabinet. It's like, it's two terms, full stop. But he never plans to leave, and he will lie, cheat, and steal. Doesn't matter who does what, crime-wise, as long as he stays in power.
Okay, and then here he is, you guys. He's just, I know that it's excruciating, but we all need to realize, look at the frailty and the senility on display here, and saying washing this man and not playing him doesn't help us. Here he is, he's just such a petty, childish, diaper-wearing little man baby that needs his man bra. Play the clip.
The great George Washington, all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me. So less than great, less than George. Somebody went up there, they say, you're the third best president in the United States. This was on television, third best. And they said, who are the first two? George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And I got extremely angry at this man. You know, you can't. It's gonna be tough to beat Mr. Senator. It's gonna be John. It's gonna be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln. But we're gonna give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars.
Listen, only the weakest, most simpy, spineless, insecure, obedient type of people could ever support somebody like this. This is the softest, weakest, stupidest. Look at, he's got makeup. He's got a white ring around his mouth from the makeup he's wearing.
9 coming, all right.
While he's talking about he's better than George Washington. George Washington fought in wars, okay? George Washington fought other men. This man is made out of McDonald's. He's a PDF. He's got a party of people weaker than him, so obedient to him, they'll go from expose the PDFs to protect the PDFs to be obedient. Because team identity overrides rules, principles, and integrity to weak people.
We put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not.
Put out 8 wars. Those are all the Republican senators sitting in the bastardized Rose Garden, applauding that what he's saying even makes no sense. The fact that they're sitting there cheering on a man that's in a position where obviously you have to have confidence and believe in yourself to be able to do that. But that he's sitting there talking about in real time, I'm going to be better than Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Somebody said I wasn't, and that made me mad. And they're all sitting there cheering. These are the same people that lost their minds when Obama wore a tan suit. And these are the same people that said they thought Obama was cocky and arrogant. It's fascinating the hypocrisy that these people are capable of living in. They can apply the rules to a Democrat.
Principle laundering.
They provide cover for this piece of shit. And I would get it, like, if this guy were, like, let's say he had, wasn't such a nut and disguised it all better, then, and maybe like Ronald Reagan, you know, he acted polite and gentlemanly all the time, even though he, you know, demeaned the poor and all of those things. They brazenly support a man that brazenly shits on human rights all day, every day, and that brazenly shits on the Constitution and democracy. And every single one of those Republican, national security, fiscal Republican, family,
thank you, Dennis. I agree.
Crotchety, crusty old
I agree with you, Dennis.
Senators sit there and
but we're gonna fix it.
Something that 6 months ago, if a Democrat,
this is all an illusion of power, like the Wizard of Oz. It's fake.
To hell and back.
Just imagine if Biden had shown an AI video of him driving or flying a plane.
Can you imagine?
And dumping shit on American citizens.
Can you imagine if Biden would have posted that video that Trump posted?
The meltdown in the right-wing manosphere. It's so appalling. And did you notice how bad his mouth makeup was? It was like so bad.
I just think he looks terrible.
Terrible.
Okay, moving along. Now we have just here he is with the rambling dementia. And every time this man gets in front of a microphone, I think they have teleprompter for him, but he cannot, what does he call it, the weave? And here's the thing. The weave. Here's the thing. Like, if you go to visit your crazy racist uncle in the memory care wing of a nursing home center, you know, then you're like, okay, it's great to see you. We'll see you later, and you walk out. The people sitting here listening to this are United States senators. These are very serious jobs with people that make very serious decisions that affect millions of people in the United States, but also worldwide. And nobody fucking says a word about this batshit crazy dementia that this man has. Play the clip.
And we had this long wall with half windows because there used to be a swimming pool on the other side of the wall. That was the
All right, so before we get back to this soft McDonald's-made idiot, makeup-wearing buffoon, little micro-penis boy with even less than followers, because that's what they are. You know what? Like, we can't play dumb with the people dumping trash into our community every day. We can't play dumb with them. We can't pretend it's not trash. We can't pretend we don't know who's doing it. Okay? It's time to have a calculus level class where we don't allow the remedial kids in. Okay? We're talking complex issues about fixing society from people hell-bent on ruining it. Okay? And today, they're protecting PDFs. Who knows what they'll be doing tomorrow? And going back and forth with them just allows more of them to spread trash behind our back while we're engaged. So the only way we're going to go back and forth with them is if we get content out of it that will help remove all of this in the future. What does that mean? That means MAGA, this class isn't for you. You're not smart enough. You don't have enough integrity. You lie too much. You don't meet the qualifications to participate here. If you want to participate, you have to come on live and debate me on video or face-to-face. That's the only way that you get to play, because you're not qualified to take this class. So we're not going to waste time with toddlers screaming and crying and pooping in the aisles, posting videos of them pooping on Americans. If you don't know, Donald Trump posted a video of him pooping on American citizens, because that's the type of pathetic, spineless, weak, McDonald's made, pussy neck having PDF people even lower than that want to represent them. And you don't have a voice in my house, the same way I can't come in your house and teach you discipline, manners, respect, logic, integrity. If I can come in your house and teach you those things, then you can come in my comments and spread trash around. But let's be real, that's not going to happen. So let's address, Dennis says, our fellow citizens kept Trump out of jail and made him president. Disgraceful. Our fellow citizens kept this bitch-made, felonious, lying, sexual assaulting, draft dodging con man out of jail and then made him president. Well, Dennis, even if it was all on the up and up, okay? Because I'm not going to sit here and say the election was definitely stolen like he does with no evidence. We have a lot of evidence pointing to shenanigans by him and Elon Musk, literal statistical anomalies that have never happened in the history of America that gave him the win. Okay, we're going to set that aside and say, okay, it was legitimate. Dennis, they still represent about 33% of the country. We had some of the lowest voter turnout last election. So what does that tell us? There is about 40% of the country that identify as Democrats. We know that we're the majority, so how do they win? They win by cheating, okay? How do they cheat? Gerrymandering and the Electoral College. Very quickly, gerrymandering is where they redraw political districts. Now they're using AI to do this. They change the shape of districts to make sure that they have more Republicans representing their states than Democrats, okay? Only Republicans do the gerrymandering, and it's cheating. And we, decent people, cleaning up the trash that the demons of society are dumping everywhere, we have to deal with this. The Electoral College is cheating because it says that the few 100,000 people who live in Montana, they get 2 United States senators. The same as the millions of people who live in California get 2 United States senators. That's how these people cheat, okay? It goes deeper than that, but all you have to do is look at that and say, how does 33% of the country, when we look at actual statistics and demographics, if you guys want me to cite sources and bring those numbers onto the show, showing you where they come from in publicly accessible data anybody can look at. Again, you can ask any AI you want. You can ask Grok, Elon Musk's AI. You can ask ChatGPT. You can ask Claude. You can ask Gemini. You can ask any AI you want. How much of the country do these people actually make up? And it's going to be around 30 to 33%, okay? So that's first, Dennis. It wasn't just that our fellow citizens kept him out of jail and elected him president. It's that we have a long-running problem of a billionaire oligarch-serving party cheating to get what they want against the majority of the people, okay? And they have spread so much of this trash in society that people like me who would never make videos about this, because I got a good life, I don't need this. My life is chill, man. My life could be easy street. Like, other than talking about this, I basically do what I want and train and follow the buffs, okay? But you have so much garbage piling up everywhere that even people like me are like, you know what? Nah, dude, no. And I can't even call him a dude. I can't even call him a man. I just call him a McDonald's pussy neck little bitch, because that's what he is, okay? I'm sorry for the language, but they deserve it. For all of this trash that they've spread in society, they deserve contempt. They deserve, respect is earned, okay? They have done the opposite of earned respect. They have earned contempt until they prove us wrong. Until they start to put principles and integrity over team identity. Here's the litmus test, y'all. When you make a rule, would you still follow that rule if it came from the other team's jersey? That is the test. We should not have any rules in society that we change whether we support them or not, whether the other team is in power. If you don't support Kings when the Democrats are in power, if you don't support protecting PDFs while the Democrats are in power, then you keep that same energy when your team is in power and vice versa. That's why the Democrats don't care if there's Democrats on the list. We say release the list. The Democrats aren't saying release the list but let us edit it first. They're saying we vote to release it. So no, both parties aren't the same. Our government is shut down because these people refuse to release the Epstein files while the Democrats try to release the Epstein files. So Republicans being like, oh, you guys didn't release it under Biden, we would have. It was never brought to a vote. It's brought to a vote. You see who's voting for it. You see who's voting against it. You can't come in here and lie to us. We don't believe you. Okay? I have a whole nother rabbit hole I want to go down about how these people employ bots online to make them seem like there's more of them than there are. And that's why they won't jump on camera. That's why they won't put their face on an avatar. That's why they won't call into the show, because a good majority of the people you see saying stuff online are AI bots. And that's why I have not had one of these people agree to debate, even though I'm saying you get equal time to me. I will never interrupt you, okay? But we get equal time. You talk, timer's up, you stop, I talk, timer's up, I stop. We go back and forth as much time as you have. We post it online, everybody gets to learn. But these people are ashamed of what they believe because it's not their beliefs, it's their obedience. And they know that if they tell us, okay, we don't actually believe in protecting PDFs, but man, I'm ride or die MAGA. I gotta be on my team, man. That's my high school. Those are my guys. I'm obedient to them. They know how that would sound, even though it's the truth. So they don't say that. So they argue these things, you prove them wrong, and they just go over to the next thing because beliefs don't matter. It's obedience. Okay? Their obedience to neck pussy PDF Epstein's best friend made out of McDonald's, posting videos of himself pooping on Americans. That's who they're obedient to. And we will get more into how you have to be broken as a human being to be obedient to somebody like that. But let's look at Dante says, your content is decent, but you give them too much attention. I can't spend my life talking about MAGA daily. Listen, man, this is important. Let me repeat Dante. Your content is decent, but you give them too much attention. I can't spend my life talking about MAGA daily. Dante, I feel you. That's been me for the last, back when he said grab him by the P word, I was like, my fellow Marines, my fellow Republicans I grew up with would never, that dude's done. He's baked, he's cooked, never. And then to see what's unfolded from then till now, I can't even believe it, Dante. Do I want to talk about this? Hell no. If you can't take it, if your life is too overwhelmed to deal with this, just at least know that that is by design, Dante. That they have tuned society like a machine to make sure that you don't have the mental energy to deal with this. Or me, or anybody. That is their goal, is for the majority of people to be so worn out that they crave entertainment and food so much that they don't exercise their bodies or their minds. And I'm not going to punch down, I'm not going to talk down to anybody. You know, some people have kids, they're putting food on the table, they have a MAGA boss. What are they going to do? They can't talk about stuff on social media because Their MAGA boss is going to see it and fire them or screw them over at work. They got to feed their kids. It is what it is. But that's not all of us. And if you have the energy, then the reason you need to talk about it is this is garbage being dumped in our streets, Dante. This is toxic sludge being dumped into the brains of our future generations who we are all going to rely on. Do I want to clean up trash that I didn't have any part in producing? Hell no, bro. Hell no, I don't want to clean up these demons' trash. But if not me, who? If not, I've had it news, who? Okay? This is where we're at. Nobody wants to talk about this. But because I do, I can turn my brain off completely when I watch football. I can turn my brain off completely when I'm hiking in the mountains, when I'm walking with my family, when I'm hanging out with Mrs. L and L at the end of the night. I can turn my brain off because I know I did my part to clean up some trash today. And I'm not saying that everybody can. Like I said, some people are spread too thin, but everybody can do something. The least that anybody can do is never go along with and be obedient to evil, fascist, sociopath, punching down, never go along with serving the billionaires over the working class. And you can do it silently. Okay? You can do it however you can. And you know in your head. But I would encourage you to say, nobody wants to pick up trash in the local river. Nobody wants to pick up trash in the local park. But we also don't want to live in muck and filth. So what are we going to do? And that's where I'm at. That's where we are. So I'm going to play this video and get it back going. And keep commenting along the way. Keep getting this work. I'm doing a little less work today because my body's feeling crispy. We've been doing like 3 sets every day. The main goal is weekly volume. And so you do enough that you can recover from each day. And that allows you to build more volume over time. So let's keep getting it in. I'll respond to you guys in the chat. And Dennis says, here's a question, not a statement. How much of this is due to the Christian evangelicals? They are in lockstep for Trump. Okay. Dennis, the entire playbook for this party comes from the most corrupt side of Christian evangelicals, okay? There are pure versions of every religion, I believe, in my heart. I believe any religion you show me, there's a pure version seeking truth, justice, light, knowledge, all of the good things, and there is a distorted version that people have come in and tried to claim to gain power and money. And so the type of evangelical Christianity that props up MAGA, literally they could not have MAGA without it. Okay, these are the people mainly who were the most fervently exposed the PDFs, even when the Democrats were in party. And what I would always say to those people is, just going off the facts of convicted jury cases, there are more PDFs in Christian churches than almost any other organization you could name. And it's the corrupt, white, evangelical, most conservative versions of their religion. And they're full of PDFs. And so when all of those people were yelling, expose the PDFs, I knew that something wasn't right. And then you see them switch to no, it doesn't matter, protect the PDFs. And it's like, well, of course, because in the same way that evangelical Christianities don't care about bad beliefs, and let me make this point, they act exactly opposite to Jesus. Everything based on their book, the Bible, is where we get a history of Jesus and the words that they believe are attributed to him. And we see that they don't believe anything that Jesus said, blessed are the poor. The way that you treat the least of these is how you treat me. Love your enemy, love your neighbor as you love yourself. They hate all of that, but they wrap themselves in that man's name. Why? Because they're obedient. And the way that version of church works, they say that the elders are over the church, the priest is over the church, and then the husband is over the household. The wife is subservient to the husband, and the kids are subservient to the mother and father. So they have a perfect vertical power structure. And when you have a religion that says it's not belief but obedience that matters, that's where you get a deity commanding Abraham to kill his son, and he's going to do it. He knows it's wrong to kill a child, that this child hasn't done anything wrong, but he's obedient before he is principled. And that's called vertical morality. And the Christian evangelicals teach vertical morality. And that says, if I lie, I change my belief from expose PDFs to protect PDFs. If I lie, which is a bad belief to lie, I'm actually being loyal because I'm being obedient. Okay? And that's how they principle laundering comes from evangelical religion. I know it's wrong to kill, but if my deity tells me to do it, I'm being loyal. I'm being obedient. So you have these Christian evangelicals primed by their religion, which is literally threatening them with eternal torture if they're not obedient. And now that same power structure tells them, pay no attention to the PDF behind the curtain. Now protect that curtain. Protect it. And they say, I have to be obedient or I'll be tortured in hell forever. Because my dad told me this, the priest told me this, the elders told me this, my church told me this. Meanwhile, the elders and the priests are getting their money from the same people that give them their money. The money all comes from the same place. And the people, the oligarchs spending the money to promote this trash being spread in society, spend that money with religions for the power that it brings them. Because now you can, by donating money to one church, you bought 1,000 minds, you bought 500 minds, you bought 300 minds, okay? And the price scales accordingly. They obviously give more money to the mega pastors with tons of people, and then with the little small churches, they give the little priest a $60,000 a year salary, and hey, he's going to be obedient because he would like to have a job where he just bullshits every week for $50,000 to people who will be obedient no matter what. So this could not happen without the corrupted version of evangelical Christianity. And I will even go so far to say, because the word evangelical means you're supposed to go out and change people, that any version of Christianity calling itself evangelical is not really good to me, because I believe in liberty. Whatever you believe, if you're a Christian, I support you. That's your liberty. If you're an atheist, I support you. If you're a Muslim, I support you. If you're a Buddhist, I support you. If you believe in integrity, principle, and rules over team identity. If you believe in the golden rule, which is in every religion that exists, then I'm your brother, okay? Period. If you believe in the golden rule, you would never support these people. And so, if you believe in the golden rule and you call yourself an evangelical Christian, okay, cool. We can still be brothers. But I would have a debate with you where I say, hey, that word evangelical, like, why do you need to change this Buddhist guy's mind? He's a good person. He's good like you. Why do you think that you have to change what he believes? I don't agree with that, but we can still be brothers because you say, you know what? I believe he should change because of this, that, and the other, but I'm never going to pass laws to make him be like me because I believe in liberty. I believe in the golden rule. So Dennis's question, how does evangelical Christianity, how much of this is due to Christian evangelicals? It couldn't be done without them, put it that way. If Christian evangelicals didn't exist, we would be fighting another form of evil, no doubt, because humanity has been a battle of good and evil, a battle of people who believe in the rule of law, democracy. You know, we didn't get liberty by default. People fought and died to have the little bit of liberty we have now. So there's always going to be a battle of good and evil. And because I know I've had Christians who watch this say, well, how do you define good and evil? if not in context of a religion. Good is anything that is life affirming, okay? Anything that affirms life, especially consciousness, is good. Anything that is life denying is evil. It's very easy. And how do we know this? Human history, sociology, psychology, but mainly human history. We can look at the story of human history and see ideas that are life affirming generate good results. Ideas that are life denying generate death. Okay, so let's, Dante says, I've seen MAGA my whole life. You guys just seeing it because it's the president lifting the veil. Whites have always been like this, no offense. Yet, Dante, you're right. And it's embarrassing. And that's why it's more on people who look like me to clean up this trash right now than it is on anybody else. Even though I didn't help spread it, even though I have nothing to do with spreading this garbage, it has been. MAGA is just a new name for what Dante is talking about he's been dealing with his entire life, which is a society set up for white people to thrive and succeed and have advantage, and for brown, black, and immigrants, even though we're all immigrants too, but you know what I'm saying, it's been set up for non-white people to have a harder time. And it has been that way Dante's whole life, it's been that way my whole life. And all I can say, Dante, is eventually my conscience reach a point where even though I don't feel like I can do anything about it as one of the tiniest YouTube channels that exists, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to try. I'm going to be here doing this every day. My conscience is burning because of what Dante says. Dante says, I've seen MAGA my whole life. And I'm guessing Dante's not a teenager, okay? Dante, I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing you're my age or somewhere similar. But Dante says, I've seen MAGA my whole life. You guys just seeing it because it's the president lifting the veil. Whites have always been like this. Dante, part of my family is like this, and they tried to persuade me as a kid to be like this. My first best friend of my life in kindergarten, to this day, is a black man. And so as a kid, my best friend would come over to my house and then leave, and my uncles and cousins would make these weird comments. And luckily, I had a mom who was all about the golden rule, and would, if she ever heard, my uncles or cousins saying any of the MAGA type stuff you're talking about that's been around forever, they wouldn't say it in front of her because she would destroy them. But she also taught her kids that every human being is beautiful and every human being deserves an equal starting line, an equal opportunity to compete. That, what my mom taught me as a child, I grew up in Christianity, and my mom was the type of Jesus Christian who was like, God created every person you see in his image. Every person you see, if it's a disabled person, if it's a person that doesn't look like you, young, old, whatever, your creator made that person just as beautiful as you. You're beautiful, that person's beautiful, everybody's beautiful in the eyes of God. Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves to be treated by the golden rule, so that the people like that in my family could never affect me. However, I have seen them. And sometimes when they're on your side, when it's your team, you don't know what to do or say. You just think, I'm going to go in the voting booth and vote for the best person, and then we had 8 years of President Obama. I thought our country was moving in the right direction. And so a lot of us got comfortable thinking, okay, we'll just work hard. We'll just vote for the better candidate, and, justice and what's right will prevail. Like, God's got us, karma's got us. And then we see, no, you have to work and clean up the trash. And when I say you, I mean me. Because though I have seen this all my life, the same way you have, Dante, though from the day he said, grab her by the P word, and I thought everybody was going to be done with this piece of shit, pussy neck, spineless little draft dodging McDonald's made, using their terminology, beta male. Because there's nobody weaker than this. There's nobody more pathetic than this makeup wearing buffoon. And the people who prop him up do it because they're scared, because they're weak. Okay, my uncles and cousins were scared and weak because they have been indoctrinated to believe that brown people were going to hurt their life in some way, which is absurd. Now they don't even believe that. Now they just go along with the hate purely out of the obedience that is taught in the most corrupt versions of evangelical Christian churches. Dennis says Dante is right, but they are multiplying through disinformation. Exactly. And, you know, I think I thoroughly went through how much I agree with Dante. And again, I have never spread this BS in my life. Even when I grew up and identified as a Republican Christian, I was still the kid in church being like, yeah, but Jesus said to love people. Yeah, but Jesus said how you treat the least of these is how you treat me. But it says remove the log from your own eye before the splinter from your brother's. They hated me in church, but I really cared. I really cared, and they hated me for asking these questions, and that started giving me a sign, okay? And then I joined the Marine Corps during the George Bush administration because I believed, okay, that Osama bin Laden and Afghanistan and Iraq had something to do with 9/11 and that Saddam Hussein had nuclear weapons. I believed the President of the United States, and I signed up to be a Marine before I turned 18 years old. And then I went into the Marine Corps, and the quickest thing I can tell you is I saw the depth of evil and lies and atrocity, and it turned me in the complete opposite of everything I believed that made me George. The Marine Corps turned me into a Democrat. The Marine Corps turned me into an ex-Christian. I can't tell you what I believe in karma. You know, I believe that there is something that connects all of consciousness and all of life. But I have to reconcile that with seeing innocent children and old people, innocent, man, destroyed, killed, obliterated in their homes with no accountability ever had. Okay, and then after that, seeing young little babies dying of brain cancer in ICUs on a daily basis, innocent children suffering. I have to reconcile whatever I believe in is bigger in the fact that it doesn't come in and help a little child suffering with brain cancer that's born with it, that never has a chance. I've got to reconcile it with not doing anything to protect innocent civilians that were killed by the United States military in Iraq and Afghanistan when most of the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. And then we do deals with Saudi Arabia. I saw through all of this, okay? So I know how all of this works. And so my conscience is burning because of what Dante is saying. Because I understand how all of this works, how I was in it, how they hated me when I was in it because I was a good person. These people hate when you point out that they're obedient and they don't actually have beliefs. Because any way that they're weak, any way that they're fearful, which they all are. This is the weakest and fearful person in the country, and he leads people more weak and more fearful than him. So he's not the most, but he's the figurehead of weakness, insecurity, gluttony, dishonesty, insecurity. This man could never attract a female partner without stolen money that he didn't earn. He has to buy women, just like Elon Musk. Because good people do not want to be with people like this. And these people don't want to debate their beliefs because they hide. They want to be friends with us in society because we're the cool people. Liberals, People who love their fellow man, people who love their neighbors, people who stand up for integrity, principle, and rules, no matter what jersey they're wearing. Those are the cool people of society, and they want to hang out with us. And if we start to draw a line and say, no, we're not hanging out with people who support PDFs, with people who support kings, with people who support pieces of shit like this, posting videos of them shitting on Americans. As a fighter pilot, do you know what it takes to become a fighter pilot? Where are my fighter pilots out there? Can this fat piece of shit excuse me, because all bodies are beautiful, but don't tell me you're manly and strong when all you do is eat McDonald's and sit on your ass. You can eat McDonald's and sit on your ass. I don't care. If you're happy, everything bless you. But do not say that we are a party of criminals, thugs, and terrorists, and that you're the party of manly, honorable men, when you're a draft dodger made of liquid jelly who couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, who couldn't have a head-to-head IQ test with anybody. He runs from any real kind of competition. This is the type of man that represents these people, so you can't take them seriously unless you take their obedience seriously. Take their obedience seriously. Do not take their beliefs seriously. Dante says, I really don't see the difference. They've used the same rhetoric for a long time. They changed the names and people, but the messaging has been the same. I noticed it when I was a kid. The way they portrayed blacks on TV and news was not the world I lived in and grew up in, a black neighborhood. I stopped listening to the news as a kid. Dante, you're right. But what are we going to do? Like, that's what I'm saying. I've seen the same thing that you have seen. And all I can tell you is I've had enough. And I'll do whatever I can. Like, point me in the direction to do work. This is the work that I was like, for a year, I'm like, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. What can I do? There's things that I do in the local community, but it's not enough. I know how this works. I need to talk about how this works, because when I was a young man, seeing this would have had an impact on me. Okay, seeing somebody who's clearly in better shape than all of these politicians, but especially MAGA, who was also not being in shape, okay, because as a kid, I was a multi-sport athlete. I looked up to athletes. You know, if a big man made of McDonald's told me something, you know, and a bodybuilder told me something, I'm especially that has anything to do with masculinity or fitness, I'm going to believe the bodybuilder, not the man made of jelly. But it's now the bodybuilder starts telling me about the golden rule, about justice, about equality, about democracy, about what real love is, because real love is not soft. Real love is you see your friend getting bullied and you stop the bully, whatever it takes. And real strength is I can stop a bully without hurting them too much and then make everybody be friends. I can bully a bully until the bully gets it and then be like, hey, you didn't like that, right? So that's why you're not going to bully this person anymore. That's what true strength is. If I had seen a successful, in shape man as a child giving me these values, it would have helped my life. And so I don't know what else to do. I see trash getting spread in our society, and I want to help clean it up. When Dante says, I really don't see the difference. They've used the same rhetoric for a long time. They changed the names and the people, but the messaging has been the same. I noticed that when I was a kid. The way they portrayed blacks on TV and the news was not the world I lived in and grew up in a black neighborhood. I stopped listening to the news as a kid. I agree with you. But, you know, some things haven't changed since the founders of our country wrote about liberty. The idea of liberty has not changed. When Jesus allegedly talked about love, when all of the spiritual leaders through the world talked about love, those haven't changed either. So we have a lot of principles that haven't changed. All of this has been around as long as society has too. It's a constant back and forth. But I've reached a point in my life where I I cannot just see this trash getting dumped into my society every day and not stand up and say, not here, not around me. You know, where I live in Boulder, I never saw a single MAGA sign. But I grew up in the deep South. You know, I left to go to a place where the trash is not so thick, but everybody can't do that. And so what do? Do I go back and live in one of these places where I don't want to live and fight them there? No. I wouldn't. We all know we wouldn't survive. So if you're watching this and you live in Nashville, Tennessee, if you're watching this and you live in South Carolina, you're watching this and you live in Florida, you're watching this, you live in Alabama, I get that it's going to be different for you. Because it is literally not safe. Because these people don't have beliefs, they have obedience, and they will do harm to people, as we've seen all throughout society. And that's one of my biggest problems with these people is ask any AI you want, okay? Ask it to cite sources. So you're not asking the AI's opinion. You're saying pull sources that are publicly available, that are neutral, and tell me where the most political violence comes from. It's 75% right wing. It's 75%. And you have these people saying that we're the violent ones. No. No. Those of us who can are going to get on the internet where people everywhere can watch it and be like, even if they're the majority where you live, these people are 33% of the country. Y'all saw how many people came out on No Kings, and a lot of people were afraid to come out to No Kings. There were videos going on everywhere of people saying, turn off the facial recognition on your phone. ICE is going to be out there. And maybe they were, you know, in some conservative areas. I didn't see them in Boulder. They'd be chased out of here, honestly. They'd be chased out of Denver. Look at the videos from No Kings in Denver and Boulder. And if you can and you're tired of living somewhere like this, consider moving somewhere like Denver or Boulder to be around millions of good people who these people will never, ever, ever fuck with. These people will never fuck with Denver or Boulder. It won't happen. Just look at the No Kings. Look at the Bernie AOC rally that I went to in Denver. And imagine ICE trying to come in to one of these cities. So I understand if you live where those people are dominant, it may not be safe for you. Consider moving somewhere else or do what you can in the background, because I have a lot of friends who live in the South who do things in a safe way. And they counteract this trash in a way that prevents getting, in the same way you wear a radioactive suit if you go to clean up a nuclear spill. You can't just say, oh, the nuclear site exploded, I'm going to go clean it up because I'm a good citizen. You will get radioactive poisoning and you will die. You have to have on the hazmat suit. So if you live around these people, you have to have the hazmat suit. The reason I do this under love and liberty and not my DMV government name is to protect myself from these people, because I was doing stuff under my government name and they found my family. Okay, and they do the thing where they start calling people's jobs and workplaces and stuff. These people are toxic, and we have to do something. And so that's what we're here to do. I'm going to keep playing this video. I'm going to let them talk for a second. I'm going to try to get in 2 sets of everything before I wrap this video today. If y'all want to talk about anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I love these ladies because they don't hold back, because they're fearless, and I liked them okay for all of that. But when I saw how much they trigger the insecure, hateful, I don't even know, like, you know, in their terminology, they're beta males. Because in their terminology, this soft neck pussy McDonald's made buffoon wearing orange makeup all over his face is everything that they say a beta male is. But principal laundering, they make exceptions when it's their guy. Since he's wearing their jersey, suddenly he's not a beta male. If he was a Democrat, they would agree with everything that I'm saying. And that's the difference between us and them. We don't change the rules that we make, the integrity that we have, or the principles we believe in, no matter what politician is in office. That's why the Democrats say, release the files. We don't care if Bill Clinton is on there. If Bill Clinton's on there, we want to know it. We want to know if there are Democrats in the files. We want to expose them. They don't, because they know that it's full of their team. It's full of their people. And so there's one party, these people trying to protect PDFs, and they're obedient to a man that they call beta. It's so cringe to talk about alpha males and beta males. I do it because they really believe it. The science that they base it on, the guy who did the study has done interviews all over the place saying what they think is alpha and beta has nothing to do with what we were studying. And it's completely wrong, and they completely misunderstood, but they've taken it in their own direction. So we just say, okay, this is important to you guys. You guys like to talk about alpha and beta. Everything you say beta is this, and you kneel to this. You serve this. What does that make you? What's below beta in your terminology? Because it doesn't get softer and weaker and more bitch-made than this, y'all. And whoever, if you're watching this and you're triggered because you're MAGA, send your favorite person over to my show. I know I have a tiny show, so I know that's stupid. If they have a big show, why would they do it? Because if I had a big show, I would debate anybody. I'd be like, bring it on. Get in line, okay? If I had a big show and there were 100,000 people that wanted to debate, I'd be like, let's just go in order. Let's go. Let's talk. Because talking cleans up the trash and it prevents it from spreading to future generations. Talking about it helps young men see that these ideas are not so simple, that just blindly being obedient to a church or a political party or a McDonald's made piece of shit does not make you a good person. A lot of young men are indoctrinated with obedience, loyalty is all that matters, and so they believe that. And so they don't know how to argue, and when they get proven wrong, it doesn't mean anything to them. They just go to the next talking point and they don't think, wait, I just learned that something I truly believed is wrong, and now I'm just switching to another subject. Wait, maybe I should think, if that I believed and argued for was completely wrong, what does that mean? Does it mean that the source of information that came from, maybe I should question more closely? Does it mean that my dad, who I thought was perfect, maybe isn't perfect? Maybe has some flaws? Am I realizing that, I went along with these people because my boss or somebody in my church hired me and gave me a job, or my rich uncle is MAGA and he got me this job, or he is my boss. A lot of these people are beholden to this party because of money. Because if they stand up for what's right, it will hurt them economically. And so they choose obedience over belief because obedience protects their pocketbook. Meanwhile, it's a very short-sighted view, because these people serve the insurance companies, they serve the financial companies, they serve the pharmaceutical companies, they serve the AI companies, they serve all of the people trying to make your labor worth less and less and less and funnel more and more value created to the oligarchy. So it's a catch-22. They're like, well, if I stand up for what's right, it's going to hurt my short-term paycheck. I'm going to have to look for a job. I might have to move to a community where I don't know anybody, where I don't have any connections. I better just be quiet and go along with this. Meanwhile, being quiet and going along with this is making your paychecks worth less and less and less and less, because these people are doing more and more and more and more for big insurance, big pharma, big tobacco, big alcohol, big media, big banking, all the people who have an interest in dividing the working class against itself. You have to follow the money. Follow the money, because this is not natural behavior. What is motivating it? Fear causes the obedience, fear of going to hell, fear of being outcast from your family, fear of having to find a new social group, and money, financial reward. Some people don't believe this at all, but they know that they can get a big financial reward by going along with it. Okay? There's been a lot of talking today, but this is good stuff. This is important because how somebody goes from one extreme belief to the complete opposite in less than a year is important, y'all. That's like saying, I believe in love and liberty, to I believe in hate and slavery. That's what it is. It's going from one opposite to the other. I believe in love and liberty. Nope, this year, I believe in hate and slavery. It's important to understand, because we become, like Dante's talking about, what he's saying, if you guys go back and read Dante's comments, is he's desensitized to all of this. None of this, he doesn't feel it anymore. He's like, it's always the same, man. Nothing's changing. These people just change their name. They're all the same. And you can see, we can talk trash about the Democrats all day, but the fact is, there is one party saying, release the Epstein files. We don't care whose names are on it. We don't care if there's Democrats on it. We want to know. There's one party saying that. There's another party saying, no, protect the PDFs. That's real. But we're desensitized to it because of what Dante is saying, because we have been mired in this bullshit for so long. But what are we going to do? Are we going to just be little bacteria who live in shit and accept that that's what we are? Or are we going to say, you know what? We're human beings, and we can look back through history and see all of the times when the odds were stacked against good people and they came together and overcame impossible odds. And all of those odds they overcame never made everything perfect. It never made it so that the next generation didn't have to do any work. It always backslides. And we need a new generation of people to come in and be like, okay, we got the trash now. We didn't create it. We didn't spread it. But damn it, we're human beings and we're capable, and some of us are strong. Some of us have the time today. Like Coach Prime says, I got time today. Some of us got time today. Some of us have the strength to stand up to shit and clean it up. Whatever you have the ability to do, understand that the next generation is counting on you doing whatever you can. And the smallest thing you do matters. That's something we can talk about at another time. But I have a background in science, and when I was in science, I was studying something called chaos theory. Chaos theory is a sector within mathematics, and let me just very simply explain. Chaos theory is where the butterfly effect comes from. Okay? The butterfly effect is real, proven mathematical science that repeats all the time. So it's a law. We can see it, we can bank on it, we know that it's going to happen. And what does chaos theory tell us is always going to happen? It says in a chaotic system where there are so many variables, like they found this out studying the weather, okay? Chaos theory came from trying to predict the weather. How do we look at all the air movement and all the moisture and the pressure and the electricity and the energy across the globe and figure out what weather is going to do what where? That's where chaos theory came from. And what they found in chaos theory is that in a complex system, when you find the tiniest adjustment that you can make to that system, like you literally spend time, like, how can I change this system in the smallest way possible? And that's where you get a butterfly flapping its wings can cause a tsunami. And what that means in math, what that means in science is when you change the tiniest variable, the tiniest thing that influences a bigger system. So in this scenario, it's you in human society, okay? We take a tiny little variable, that's you, that's me, in a huge system of humanity. And chaos theory shows us that if you change in any way, the tiniest variable, the entire system changes as a ripple result. The entire pattern changes completely, not a little bit, it changes completely. And all you have to do is the butterfly flapping its wings. So it doesn't matter what you do, it matters that you have principles and integrity and you try your best. Because of that constant little bit of effort of trying your best based on higher principles and integrity, it does change the system. The butterfly never sees the tsunami, okay? The butterfly creates a little ripple of air that builds and builds and builds over time, and maybe 3 years later the tsunami happens and the butterfly is long gone. But you can know that you do make a difference, and it's just simple math. Will you get to see it? Will you get to reap the rewards of it? Will people treat you like a king because you did your best? Maybe, maybe not. That's not the point of having integrity. The point of having integrity is saying, I'm the same Monday through Monday. I believe in love and liberty 365, 24/7, 365, whether it's the Republicans promoting love and liberty or the Democrats or anybody. If they're promoting love and liberty, I don't care what their jersey looks like. I have integrity. Those are my principles. I support that. And you do that, you have those kind of beliefs, and you will change the system. It will make a difference, and it's math. All right, let's get back into this video, get back into lifting. Dennis says the oldest trick in the book, divide the working class through racism and religion. That's really what it is. It's the oldest trick in the book. Let's just repeat it because Dennis is right on the money. The oldest trick in the book, divide the working class on racism and religion. Let's just break it down. The oldest trick in the book, literally throughout recorded human history, okay? We didn't have books before we started writing, and as soon as humans started writing, we can see example of the powerful leaders having a financial and power interest in dividing the people underneath them so that they remain the unquestioned authority figure and the people below are distracted fighting each other and they never look up at the king. So when he says the oldest trick in the book, literally from the time that we have writings, from the tablets of Sumeria, okay? We read the story. Anunnaki is a whole nother, whatever you want to think the Anunnaki were. Those are some of the first writings of history that we have, and they were dividing the working class to serve the power class, whoever those people were. And we're here again today. And so we've been living in this trash for a long time. But we know that it's less trash than those people lived in back in ancient Babylonia, in ancient Israel, in ancient Egypt, in ancient China. We know that we've made progress. So we can't forsake all of the work that has been done, even though we're still swimming in muck. It's less muck. Our ancestors left us less muck than they were born into. So the best we can do is just keep doing our best and passing it down to the next generation and saying, hey, we cleaned up a lot of what was on top of us. You guys got to keep going. And I think the torch has fallen to a lot of people my age. The younger generation is really standing up and making me proud, because whatever it is, even though, back to Dante's comment earlier, we know this has been going on our whole lives. Something in me, just like, their podcast is called I've Had It. Like, these women started a podcast because that's what I'm saying. Like, I've had it. I've had enough of... The other thing is that as a white man who looks like I do, their trash doesn't affect me so much. You know, like, to be honest with you, it would be definitely more in my financial best interests, and I could, have a whole lot more friends. I'm not somebody who wants a ton of friends. Some people need, a huge friend group to feel validated. I've lost so many friends over I don't tolerate MAGA, and I don't care. I'm happy. I got Mrs. L&L, I got Pork Chop, I've got my best friends for life, I've got my family who believe in the golden rule. I'm happy, and I could just chill and even vote against them and not say anything and only do football stuff on this channel, and it would do better, but it would be wrong. I would know in my heart that I'm just watching this trash, and it's like, well, the trash, they're putting it on Dennis's lawn. They're not putting it on my yard. So, no, they're putting it on Dante's. They're putting all this trash on Dante's yard, and that sucks for Dante because he didn't do anything to deserve it. And I see who's doing it, and I'm telling them to stop, but they won't stop. That now they're threatening to put trash on my yard. If I tell them to stop putting trash on Dante's yard, they say, hey, you're next, buddy. So I'm like, oh, no, not my fight. That's weak shit, man. And I've had it. I can't anymore. Because what happens is, I walk around different places, and I can tell some people think that I'm this. So now I gotta, figure out how to go out of my way to be like, I would never kneel to a neck pussy painted orange bitch abuser. No, what do I gotta put that on a shirt? What I can say is, if it comes up, hey, check out my YouTube channel. You'll see what I believe. You will see what I'm trying to do to say, no matter whose yard they're throwing the trash in, I'm gonna help clean it up because it could be my yard. And as soon as they see me, they're gonna put trash in my yard. So I might as well just come out here and be like, hey, I'm volunteering to help pick up the trash. I don't know what else to do. It is the oldest trick in the book, dividing the working class. And listen, I know I said I'm going to get back to work. I really am. I'm going to wrap it up by saying MAGA. It's not like we're turning our back on you forever. As soon as you put principle and integrity over team identity, as soon as you put your beliefs over your obedience, as soon as you say that you support the golden rule and you mean it, you're my brother, you're my sister. That's it, period. The only thing that divides us is you denying the golden rule. And so the oligarchy dividing us against each other, all we need to do to unite is say, who believes in the golden rule? Raise your hand. And that would be a majority of the country. That would be a majority of US citizens. And we could take over, and we can be aggressive in cleaning up as they are in spreading trash. That's what they don't understand. And I don't trust the Democratic Party we have now to do it, but when the correct, let me say, because I'm not talking about right-wing, left-wing, when the correct version of Democrats get in power and use the exact same amount of authority that this little bitch has used to destroy democracy, to clean it up, oh, it's going to be bad for these people. And it is going to happen. Karma, I believe in karma. I believe that it's a pendulum and it goes back and forth. And what you do one way is going to come back and be mirrored the other way. And we could stop the swinging by saying every human on earth wants love. Every human on earth wants liberty. Let's build a society around those principles for every person. And that would look something like, you have a society where you don't have to pay for education. If you want to be a surgeon and you can pass the tests, you will become a surgeon. If you want to be a welder and you can pass the test, you will become a welder. If you want to become an electronics manufacturer, you can pass the test. You see where I'm going? Okay, that would be a fair start for everybody to say, there's nothing holding you back from getting the job that you want, and then society gets the benefit of you having that job, and then capitalism says, all these people who wanted to become surgeons were able to become surgeons. Now society will determine what the ranking is, who gets paid the most, who gets paid the least. The surgeon who's done the most, I operated on Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods and this and that, is still going to make more money than the person who just stayed in their hometown, but they all had the opportunity. It looks like nobody homeless because we can afford to have barracks in Idaho and Kansas and wherever. You send the homeless people there, you give them a free education, basic food, and they rehabilitate themselves and they come out and they add something to your society. Is that socialism? Yes, but it's only a little bit of socialism. And then we have fair capitalism on top of it. It says if you're not at the bottom surviving, you're competing in a fair marketplace where everybody who could pass the test to become whatever job got to do it. So now we have real competition. Now what people charge is an actual reflection of a fair competition, which is what capitalism is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fair competition determines prices. And from the beginning of this country, we formed a militia to fight King George that was publicly funded the way that our military is to this day. That is socialism. We have always had a blend of socialism and capitalism in our country. And if you want to have a society built around love and liberty, it's going to look something like that. You're not going to stomp down on the oppressed. So listen, if you're on this side, it's not F you forever. It's F you until you admit that the golden rule matters. That you would like to be treated by me the way you want to be treated, but you don't want to treat me the way that you want to be treated. We're not okay with that. All you got to do is say fair is fair. I'm going to be consistent and say the rules that I support for myself, I support for you, and vice versa. And it doesn't matter what jersey they have on. I want love and liberty for everybody. I believe that we should invest more in a majority of America than in 1% of America. To talk economics, we have to get so far past all of this that it's just a waste of time because, again, these people don't have beliefs, they have obedience. If we can get them to start questioning their obedience, then we can have success talking about beliefs, which is one of their beliefs is that this is the party that helps people financially, and it's not. All of the data suggests the complete opposite, and you can prove that to them, but it doesn't stick because then they just switch to something else because it's not about what they believe, it's about their obedience. But if we can get them to realize they're being obedient to neck pussy, orange painted, orangutan, sexually assaulting, trust funded little bitch boys, and they're putting themselves beneath that, and if we get them to be like, maybe I shouldn't be obedient to something this disgusting and pathetic and obviously gross and demented and broken. Maybe I shouldn't be obedient to that. Maybe I should be obedient to something higher like liberty, like love, like the golden rule. Maybe I should be obedient to principles and integrity instead of fat, weak bitch men. Then we could get somewhere.
Swimming pool where Jackie would say, I hear women inside. Are women inside? Quite a famous, I'm not saying anything, this was a part of a movie. And the Secret Service said, no ma'am, there's no women inside, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're gonna have to move along. But I hear
Listen
women
to this
inside.
stupid
No
bitch.
ma'am, you'll have to move along, ma'am. So that was the famous swimming pool. Now it's even worse. It's for the media. They covered the pool up. They covered the pool up, and now it's for the media. And I think we have a small representative group. I don't think they allowed the rest.
All right.
I wish I could watch him do a push-up.
You know, I can't
I
comment
wish.
on that.
I could
Just
watch him try to do a
bullshit,
pull-up.
Insanity. Again, he is who he is. The Republican senators that run around preaching family values and national security, and we're conservatives and constitutionalists. Fuck you. I mean, seriously, all you ever wanted was power, and you are beholden to this dementia-ridden, Kangles make taco tits piece of shit because you have
Yep.
no spine,
Yep.
you have no courage.
Yep.
That man, that incompetent, senile, demented man
Yep.
has all of your balls. And that's pretty
Yep.
pathetic that somebody that is that big of a beta male
Yep.
rules all of these Republican.
They're putting
congressmen
themselves
and
beneath a
senators.
beta
It's
male by
just
their own definition.
Staggering. All right, buy our book. It's called Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. Pumps has got it right there. It's pinned right below in the show notes. It's a great way to support us. Subscribe, and we will see you later with more news.
All right, I'm gonna switch the video. Okay.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals.
Okay. We're gonna watch this and we're gonna wrap up the show. I'm just gonna do one set of everything today because we've been getting 3 sets a day. My body's feeling crispy. We had some good chat today. But I'm glad this video came up. This is why I'm here, right here. Because this is these losers' press secretary. Look what she says.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals.
Am I a Hamas terrorist? As a Marine? As a Marine. Am I a Hamas terrorist? Am I an illegal alien? Am I a violent criminal? As a Marine? This bitch right here? What has this bitch done for her U.S. citizenship? What has she done compared to me? And she's just gonna sit there and call me a Hamas terrorist, an illegal alien, or a violent criminal. This is why all of it, y'all. Because this is who they are, and it's trash, it's bullshit, it's disgusting, and we're gonna clean it up. Now, what this comes from the Daily Show. What they show next is a whole montage of Republicans talking, saying the exact opposite, okay? Talking about how you should never say mean things about the other party. Look at these hypocrites. And this is why we're not just showing up and working out. This is why we're talking about how these people are ruining society. Watch this.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals.
You saw in that clip what she really thinks of working people. They detest you. They detest your values. They detest what you stand for. Insulting half the country's un-American.
I don't know if she thinks
Only when the other side does it, though. Right, bitch boy? Only when the other team does it. When you do it, bitch boy's got nothing to say.
she's ingratiating herself to people by being divisive like this and actually just really perpetuating a false narrative.
Oh, you're being divisive when you're doing it from the other side, but when we do it, we don't have anything to say. Tucker Carlson insulting millions of Americans in one fell swoop.
Insulting millions of Americans in one fell swoop.
They are Americans and they deserve your respect.
It struck
But only if they're wearing your jersey, right, Mike?
me that she's pushing people away.
Look at this bitch. Look at this bitch. Now, give me a better word than bitch, okay? Because I have lesbian friends that use the word bitch, so I feel like I can use it because it is in no way insulting to women. Like, women will call him a bitch. Women will call women who act like bitches. But this is a bitch. If this isn't what a bitch is, then help me understand. Because there's just not the right words to talk about how messed up these people are. And that this man, this is one of this, like, he calls himself a manly, masculine man and says that the GOP, that MAGA is the party of real men. Compared to me? Bro, show up. Roll up. And again, it's as gentlemen. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm just saying, if you're going to tell me that our side is soy boys, pull up. Don't hide. You can't say that and hide like they do. This is who represents them because this is who they are. They not like us. And I don't know what we do to clean up the mess that these pieces of shit are making, but I'm going to try. It strikes me that she's pushing people away
from what she wants them to get out of her message.
What she wants to get out of her message, but only when it's the other side. They got nothing to say about Caroline Levitt calling me a Hamas terrorist, an illegal alien, and a violent criminal. She said that's what the Democratic Party is. Tell that bitch to say it to a Marine's face. But they never will. By their own definition, their leaders are as beta as it gets by their cringe philosophy. Again, the whole alpha beta thing is not real. It's based on a myth. They don't even understand the science. They completely misuse it, but we know how they do use it. And it's very important to them, talking about alphas and betas. And everybody who represents them, by their definition, is as beta as you can be, and they serve them. So they're below beta in their own ideology.
We have a divided nation because people like her, and believe me, she has tremendous hate in her heart.
Did you feel a temptation in your own belief system to maybe rebrand as like a anti-cancel culture guy?
No, hell no.
Fuck no.
No, dude, that's like the worst thing you can do. No, but like real shit, and I've never said this on a podcast, well, 1 week after getting canceled, I got a job offer from InfoWars.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, it's funny, like, people always say...
Good thing you didn't take it, so you're doing so well now.
Right? But people always say, like, when you get canceled, like, your career's over. No, it's the opportunity to begin a second career in, like, that sort of, like, free speech warrior space with, like, Russell Brand and them.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that, because I'm not a lot...
I made this kid for...
He calls them free speech warriors as a joke. But again, Caroline Levitt...
What's so maddening about...
Caroline Levitt calling us Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals was a reaction to the No Kings protest. So the free speech warriors, when actual warriors start using their actual free speech, suddenly we're violent criminals. Suddenly, they're not so pro-free speech anymore because they don't have beliefs, they have obedience. And when you understand that everything they do, changing their beliefs on a dime, is based on obedience and not beliefs, you will understand MAGA. And when you understand this, you will not go back and forth with them, at least not about beliefs, because it's not about beliefs to them. If you're going to go back and forth with them, you have to talk about why they're obedient to a party that protects PDFs, why they're obedient to a con man, felon, sexual assaulter who was one of the biggest PDFs on planet Earth's best friend. Why? And again, not why do they believe that's okay, why are they obedient to that? Why are they obedient to a peer group where they're afraid to stand up for the golden rule? Anybody MAGA who's watching this, who's triggered, I'm talking to you for a second, okay? If you're watching this and you're MAGA and you're triggered, let me speak directly to you. There is somebody in your life, or there is a group of people, where if you stood up for the golden rule for all people, they would bully you in some way. That's all of you. Nobody chooses to be this way. They're influenced and obedient into behaving this way. And so if this is you, think about who in your life are you afraid to be a good person around, and why? Why are you afraid to be a good person? What does this person in your life do for you, or do to you, or have over you that causes you to act differently than how you truly feel inside? Because I know you believe in the golden rule. Even if everything in your life is going against it, I know you know that treating other people the way you want to be treated is the right thing to do. So who are you performing for? Who are you obedient to? other than yourself, your heart, your mind. Be obedient to integrity. Be obedient to principles that apply no matter what jersey is representing them. With that, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream for today. It's been a good talk. As always, we will see you again same time tomorrow, 1:11 Mountain Time. We'll have new videos. We'll have new terms on the board to discuss. But we're going to keep talking about this toxic sludge getting dumped into our parks. And the people who are dumping the sludge, they just want to have a sludge party. They do not want anybody to clean it up. They don't want to clean it up. But we're going to. We're going to show up. We're going to help clean it up, knowing again by chaos theory, by actual math and science, every single thing you do, every action you take really does ripple throughout eternity. It's a cheesy quote from Gladiator. You know, whatever you do ripples through eternity, whatever that quote is. But it is literally scientifically and mathematically true. The smallest variable in a complex system changed in any way changes the entire system. That is the power you have. It doesn't say you change the system and then you get to see it and then you get credit for it, you know, and then you get to live the life of a king. Nope. It simply says every action you take is going to change the eventual pattern that this system of humanity plays out as. And you're not going to get to see it. But do you want the little actions that you take to ripple towards the golden rule? Or do you want the actions that you take to ripple towards soft, neck pussy, con men, fascist, draft dodging, PDF serving scam artists trying to divide us all against each other? And am I trying to divide us? No. No, I'm not. I am the gardener who says, if you're a weed who's going to kill my tomato plant, you got to go. But hey, if you're a weed who's not going to kill my tomato plant, you can stay. And I won't even call you a weed, because you could just simply be another plant. If you're going to abide by the golden rule, if Trump came out tomorrow and said, you know what, I've thought about everything I've done and I'm changing my philosophy completely. I want to now serve the golden rule. I want to serve democracy. I want to serve love and liberty as principles. I would be a fan tomorrow. So am I trying to divide us? No, I'm trying to bring us together. But if you're bringing together those who produce bounty, those who produce sustenance, nutrients, if I'm bringing together the lettuce and the carrots and the tomatoes and the barley, I can't also bring in the kudzu, because the kudzu is going to kill all of the life-affirming plants that are going to feed us. So there is a difference between dividing, removing cancer cells, because we say, hey, cancer cells, all you're going to do is kill the body. You won't play ball. You won't just do what the other cells are doing and help the body. If we let you stay, you're going to kill us. You have to go. If you stop being cancer cells, you could stay. If you stop being cancer cells, you can stay. We're not trying to divide people, but we're not going to let cancer hide. All right, and with that, we're going to call it a day. Peace, love, liberty, wherever you are from Boulder, we love you. Ultimately, even if you're MAGA, we love you. And that we love you enough to tell you the truth. Okay? If I just tried to be your friend, even though you're MAGA, knowing that all of this is true, that wouldn't be real love. That would be like, I don't really care enough about you to try to go deep with you and try to understand what broke you into being obedient to, by your definition, beta males. The softest beta males. Like the Republican Party, by the way that they define alpha and beta, elect the most beta of the betas. There's a good argument to say a lot of the people in the Democratic Party, by their definition, are betas, but not compared to the Republicans. Certainly not compared to me. MAGA, send your people my way. I want to debate you. I want to have them on the show. I want to talk about this. It can be in person. It can be on video. Let's do it. All right, y'all have a good day.